Hi, everyone. So welcome to our second session in our discussion towards the ICAG April 2022 examination as we focus on the introductory issues, the key things that we need to really focus on, how we need to structure ourselves in order for us to prepare well for the examination. Session in our discussion towards the ICAG April 2022 examination as we focus on the introductory issues, the key things that we need to really focus on, how we need to structure ourselves in order for us. Sorry, getting a lot of feedbacks here from my stream for some reason. Okay, so we can go. So as we focus on our discussion towards the ICAG April 2021, we want to look at a number of things that we have to focus on. Today, we are dedicating to corporate reporting and financial reporting. I want to run through corporate reporting and financial reporting with you, focusing on the key topics that you have to look out for, how you need to study the subject. Now that we have sort of 3 examination dates going and we have a lot of like 12 weeks to prepare for the exams, what do you have to do and how you need to structure yourself in order to increase your chances of passing the examination. So corporate reporting, financial reporting, that is what we want to look at today. If it is something that you are writing or you know somebody that writing, share the video, let us reach as many students as possible. Comment in the comment section any questions that you have for me, something you would want me to share my thought on, or something that you want to get some clarity on as I provide you with some answers and some strategies here. Now, financial reporting and corporate reporting are really critical papers and very basic papers. And like I say always, these are papers that are very easy to pass if you understand the structure of the syllabus and the relationship that exists within the topics. And now that we even have a little that like 3 examination dates in each of their time, students are thinking about, hey, can I prepare for the exams? Can I pass the exams? Yes, you can pass the exams if you study the way you are supposed to study and you structure yourself out the way you are expected to structure yourself out. And so today we want to look at corporate reporting and financial reporting and find out how you need to structure the topics and the areas you have to focus on, the things that you'll be on the lookout for financial reporting and corporate reporting as you go into the examination. So I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. I'm going to share my screen so that we get into the discussion real quick. So let me share my screen and bring that up. And let's see. Right. So my screen is up. I hope that, let's see. Right. So corporate reporting and financial reporting, CR and FR. Now, doing corporate reporting or financial reporting, like I mentioned, there are key issues that you have to focus on. There is a way you need to study the subject in order for you to increase your chances of passing the examination at the end of the day. And like I say all the time, if you follow a certain pattern, you implement a certain strategy, you should go into the exam hall, prepare for the exams, and most importantly, really pass the exams at the end of the day. So when it comes to corporate reporting and financial reporting, there are a number of similarities, and I'm going to talk to you about them and then bring out the difference between the two so that we'll be able to serve everyone on that particular thing. Now, one of the critical things you want to always start with if you're doing corporate reporting or financial reporting is the conceptual framework. For financial statements. Now, this is very, very important. It's the basic of what you need to look out for. The issue about the conceptual framework about financial statement. Now, you need to understand the conceptual framework of financial reporting, the conceptual framework and regulatory framework. I mean, these are combined like that. And so what are the key issues here that we have to look out for now? Whether you like it or not, there is a question waiting for you in the exam hall, especially if you are doing financial reporting on this area. And then the principle from this area is critical for you when you're doing financial reporting, and it is critical for you also when you're doing corporate reporting. So it is very important for you to understand what is going on here. Now, when it comes to this area, it's a theory area, it's a reading area. As a matter of fact, this area is not an area you want to even depend on your lecturer to teach you, because it's an area that you could read and understand a lot of the things that are going to be brought here. The first thing that we need to understand in this area is the qualitative characteristics of financial statement. The qualitative characteristics of financial statements. That is the first thing you need to understand. Now, when it comes to the qualitative characteristics of financial statement, we have the fundamental qualitative characteristics and then the enhancing qualitative characteristics. So things like faithful representation, things like timeliness, understandability, verifiability, all these are qualitative characteristics of financial statements. You must know them, you must understand them. Why? Because the examiner is likely to be asking you questions about that. Not only that, in this area, one of the critical bases that you're going to start with is the elements in the financial statements, or elements of the financial statements. Now, when it comes to the elements of the financial statement, this is the basics of understanding everything that we need to look out for. We need to know what are assets. We need to know what is liability. We need to know what is equity. We need to understand what is income or revenue. And then we need to understand what are expenses. Now, it is very important to set this out on in the beginning of your discussion, because the accounting standards you're going to be doing are going to be based on these things at the end of the day. So when we say assets, what do we mean by assets? Now, the conceptual framework defines assets as resources controlled by an entity as a result of past events. Resources controlled by an entity as a result of past events. Liabilities are simply present obligation as a result of past events. Equity is simply the residual amount after all liabilities are deducted from assets. Income and revenue, now these are sometimes used interchangeably, but they are different. Okay, revenue is the increase in economic benefits from normally core activities of the organizations, while income normally comes in the form of non-core activities of the organization. So when we have investment in the bank and we receive dividend on the investment, or we receive interest on the investment, that is income. When we sell assets and we make money, profit on the assets, that is income. When we have fair value adjustments in accordance with IFRS 9 financial instruments, that is income. Okay, so all these are classified as income. Then we come to expenses. Expenses are usually a reduction in the economic benefits of the organization. So anything that reduces the economic benefits of the organization, it's considered as what? This one here. So what are we saying? We are saying that you must understand these elements of the financial statement. Now, the one-liner definition of them, their classification is very important. Now, I'm going to roll back a little bit on this in a moment as I share with you the key standards that you have to focus on in order to increase your chances of passing the examination. I'm going to get into that in a moment, so stay with me. Now, I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video. It helps us a lot to get more engagement, so YouTube can push the video so we can reach as many students as possible. Most importantly, comment in the comment section any questions you have for me. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you want me to share my thoughts on. I see some comments coming in. Jeremy Giro said, good evening, sir. Good evening, Jeremy. I hope you're doing well. Dennis Mensa said, God bless you, sir. God bless you, Dennis. Thank you. Abdullah Mazouk said, good evening, sir. Good evening, Abdullah. Thanks for joining us again today as we continue with our discussion. So the elements of the financial statements. Like I said, this segment of corporate reporting and financial reporting, you don't need to be taught by anybody. Okay, you can read it. It is straightforward. You don't need any miracle to be delivered on this one. You can do it on your own. All right, you can do it on your own. Remember, I told you in the introduction on Monday that passing the exams is your responsibility. 80% of your responsibility, or 70%, 30% is for the tuition provider or your lecturer. So you can read these things on your own. So once you deal with qualitative characteristics of financial statement, you look at the elements in the financial statement. The third thing you want to look out for is the basic assumptions that we're going to be using. Now, usually the basic assumptions has to do with the issue about accounting concepts and accounting conventions, generally at the end of the day. So we're going to be looking at the accrual basis. And then the going concern. These are the two bases of assumption for preparation of the financial statement, the accrual basis and then the going concern basis. Actually, to be able to understand these very well, you could expand it a little bit to understand all of the accounting concept. We have the prudence concept, we have the historical cost concept, we have the money measurement concept, we have the business entity concept. Now, those are all like level one thing, but at this level, you need to look at the basic assumptions, accrual basis and going concern. Now, accrual basis is where revenue and expenditure are recognized, not when cash is received or paid, but when the transaction takes place. That is the accrual basis of preparation of financial statement. That is why you have trade payables, trade receivables. That is why you have liabilities on the face of the financial statement. That is the opposite of cash basis of accounting. Then we have the going concern. The going concern is simply an assumption that states that a business must be seen as the one operating into the foreseeable future. Now, note that when we say going concern, we simply mean, can the business operate in the next 12 months period? That's all. That's what we mean by going concern. If the business can operate into the foreseeable future, then we will prepare the financial statements on a going concern basis. But if the business cannot operate into the foreseeable future, then we're going to be preparing the financial statement on a breakup basis in that particular case. I see some of you guys joining. Let me know in the comment section, corporate reporting, financial reporting, what is your challenge about this subject? What has been your experience about these papers if you have written it before and you couldn't go through, or if you are now about to write it, what are your challenges? What questions do you have for me on them? Bring it up. Let me provide you with some answers real quick as we get into our discussion in that case. Then number 4, you need to know about measurement basis. Measurement basis. Now, this is going to be very critical because it's going to cut across in your discussion as a corporate reporting student and financial reporting student. Again, for the introductory aspects, you could read these and understand them. But then as you build on your knowledge, as you build on your understanding in the standards, they are going to come to light. Now, some of the bases of measurement that you must know about includes historical cost. We have what we call the fair value. We have what we call the value in use. We have what we call the net realizable value. And then we have what we call the present value. Now, when we say basis of measurement, we are simply talking about how transactions are initially recognized in the financial statement. How transactions are recognized in the financial statement usually. So please, can you scroll up for me to write the first ones? Which one? Is it this one you're talking about? Okay, let me give you some 30 seconds real quick. Let's see. And that is from Samuel Eduama said, can you scroll up for me to write the first ones? Okay, I don't know if that is what you wanted to write. You can put it up in 30 seconds, then we go. Jeremy said, looking forward to April 2022 exams under your mentorship. That is awesome, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to it. And we are already ready for that session. It's going to be interesting. All right, so if you have any questions about corporate reporting, financial reporting, hit me up in the chat. Let's get it going as I provide you with some now, this is a master class on corporate reporting and financial reporting that I'm doing. I mean, after this master class, I mean, you can go in there, start learning, and then boom, you'll be able to pass the exams in that case. Okay, so I hope you're good, Samuel. You said yes. Okay, so let's go. So these are the various measurement bases that we need to know about. Okay, so we have the historical cost. So what is historical cost? Historical cost is simply the initial value at which an asset is bought. That is a historical cost, the initial value at which an asset is bought. So if a company buys an asset for, say, $20,000, and that is the cost of the asset, boom, then that is what you're going to be recognizing in the book. Fair value is simply the value at which an asset can be exchanged or a liability settled among market participants in a reasonable transaction. That's fair value. And there is an accounting standard for that, IFRS 13, fair value measurement. There is an accounting standard just typically for that at the end of the day. Then we come to value in use. Now you're going to be using value in use, especially when you are dealing with issues about impairment. And so that is IAS 36. It's simply the value that the estimated future value discounted into present terms of the continuous usage of an asset. So if a company decides not to sell an asset today and they use it instead, what is the future value they are going to be getting? That is the value in use. And you're going to be dealing with that under IAS 36 much later on if you're dealing with the standards. Then net realizable value. The net realizable value is simply the fair value less cost of sales. In other words, the actual amount that an entity will obtain from the disposal of an asset, inventory, or something like that. So you're going to be dealing with this more under IAS 2 inventories as you get into the discussion in that case. And then with present values, you're going to be using present value a lot of the time when you're dealing with IFRS 16 leases, when you're dealing with IAS 37 provisions, contingent liabilities, contingent assets, and then sometimes when you're dealing with issues about even property, plants, and equipment, that is IAS 16 in that case. So you could be dealing with these things there. So these are also measurement bases. Like I said, you must understand the one-liner definition of them and have them at your fingertips. Like I said, you don't need any lecturer to teach you this one. And the lecturer didn't teach me this thing. No, you don't need any lecturer to teach you this. You can read this on your own and understand it. And understand it so that your lecturer handles bigger issue. Now, definitely, I'm not going to teach you this, so don't worry about that. So, but that is what I'm trying to say. You could learn this on your own at the end of the day in that case. So that is the fourth thing. So what am I saying? First one, qualitative characteristics. Second one, the elements in the financial statement. Third one, the basic assumptions for the financial statement. Fourth one, the measurement basis. You must understand the measurement basis. That is very critical. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this at the end of the day. So in the introductory aspect for financial reporting and corporate reporting, you must know these things off head. You must have them at your fingertips. And guess what? It is just a reading thing. It's a reading thing. You don't require any rocket science. It's a reading thing, and you can do it. You can do it. Now, like I said, for corporate reporting student, there is a 5-mark question waiting for you on these things that I just mentioned. For financial reporting, financial reporting guaranteed 5 marks question waiting for you in the exam hall on the conceptual framework and regulatory framework. 5. It's waiting for you in the exam hall. That is going to be the question 5, I guess, based on the 5-mark question. And it requires reading. It requires reading. So if I know this things that I just listed, these 4 things I listed here, the examiner is going to be asking 5 more questions about them. I better know them off head, because whether I like it or not, there is something about them in the exam or in question 5 for 5 marks that I can write. And even if I don't get all the 5 and I get 3 and I get 4, that's okay. But that is a done deal area. Corporate reporting, financial reporting, you must understand it. So that is number 1 key issue in corporate reporting and financial reporting. Number 2, once you deal with this, you come to the second part, and that is professional ethics. Professional ethics. Now, based on how excited the examiner is, when it comes to professional ethics, corporate reporting students, you're going to have financial reporting students, you're going to have 6 marks or 5, between 5 or 6 marks. Last semester it was 5, but this other time it could be 6, or it's 6 as well in that particular case. Corporate reporting students, there's also going to be a question on ethics, about 10-mark question on ethics in the exam hall. So what do I do? Now, between 5 to 10 marks, sometimes the examiner can just want to do something else and then give you something else. So ethics, it's also a done deal area waiting for you in the exam hall. Now, when it comes to professional ethics, I have taught this extensively on YouTube. So you can check out the videos on the channel in the playlist. We've done this comprehensively and go through it. But then what you are looking out for here is that your questions are going to be scenario-based questions. For that reason, when it comes to ethics, there are 3 things you need to understand. 3 things. And I want you to stay with me carefully, because this is a done deal area. And like I tell you all the time, if I want to pass the exams, then I want what is coming. Then I want to be certain that if that thing comes, I can answer the question. That is why I'm doing this with you, so that you know the done deal areas, then you know what to do as you go into the exam hall. So 3 things you must know about ethics. The codes of ethics. There are 5 codes of ethics. If you did management accounting, audit and assurance, blah, 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 you should know these things. So we have integrity. So we have integrity. Then we have objectivity, professional competence and due care, professional behavior. Well, let me just bring this guy, my favorite one, confidentiality, and then professional behavior. So these are the code of ethics. You must understand them, what they mean. Okay, integrity means the professional accountant must be honest and straightforward in all professional dealings. Honest and straightforward in all professional dealings. Now, honest and straightforward to whom? Honest and straightforward to the regulatory authorities, honest and straightforward to the clients, to the company that we serve. Objectivity. The professional accountant, the auditor, in carrying out his duty, definitely will be exercising some professional judgment. Objectivity simply means that in exercising these professional judgments, the professional accountant should not allow bias, conflict of interest, and undue influence to affect those professional judgments. That is being objective. Professional competence means possessing the necessary skills required to undertake the work, whilst due care means undertaking the work in a manner that is expected to be undertaken. Confidentiality simply means concealing information as a result of work and not revealing them or disclosing them, that's the right word, disclosing these information without prior notice, but there are some exceptions there. Then professional behavior simply means not acting in a manner that brings discredit or disrepute to the entity. And you must understand this. That's the first thing you must understand about ethics, the code of ethics. Understand what they are, what they mean. Now, we're going to go into this later on when we're doing the live stream, but this is a done deal area. Understand it. Now, I see some comments coming in. Let me look at them real quick. Quote unquote said, Nhyira, you are doing well. Thank you, quote unquote. Yaboa Eric said, hi, Nhyira, I'm late already. Don't worry. Think you will still be okay in it like that. We've not gone that far. Pini Perry said, good evening, sir. Great being with you here. Always a pleasure. Ernest said, good evening, sir. Please, which lecture are you lecturing for the level 2? I don't get you, Ernest. Which lecture are you lecturing for the level 2? I don't get it. Please contextualize for me. Let me see. I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome to the stream. Give us a thumbs up on the video when you join. It helps us a lot. Click the like button. Let it turn to blue. Click it. Let it turn to blue. It gives us a lot of engagement on the video, and YouTube will push it so we can reach other students just like you and help more students to really prepare and pass their examination. Click the like button for us and also share the video. Let us reach as many students as possible. That's the first in code of ethics. The second thing you need to understand about ethics. Now, remember, I said 6 marks or 5 marks in financial reporting, 5 to 10 marks in corporate reporting. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I see some of you with a thumbs up coming up. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. The second thing we need to understand is threats. The threats to professional ethics. Threat to professional ethics. Threat to professional ethics. Now, after you understand the code of ethics, now you need to understand the threats. Now, I want you to see the threats as conditions and situations that make the professional accountant not to act in the manner that they are supposed to act. Do you get the idea? So I call this like, I call the code of ethics like, not to blaspheme, okay, not to blaspheme, but then I call the code of ethics like the 10 commandments, okay? And then the threats are things that makes us not to follow the commandments. Do you get the idea? So when it comes to threat to professional ethics, we have what we call the self-interest threat, okay? Self-interest threat. We have the self-review threat. We have the advocacy threat. We have the intimidation threat. And then we have familiarity threats. So these are various situations, various scenarios that limits people from adhering to the code of ethics. Okay, and you must know them. You must know them. Now, when you are looking at these threats, it is very, very important because the examiner in your question, stay with me carefully, stay with me carefully. The examiner in your question is going to be asking you, what is the ethical issue the person is facing and what courses of action should the person take? Now, if the examiner asks you what is the ethical issue the person is facing, what you want to do is to identify the threats in the question. Okay, you want to identify the threats in the question. Then you look at the significance of the threats. Then you find out which code of ethics is the threat going to make the person breach. So let me give you an example so you understand what we are saying here. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example so you understand, because this is 5 marks corporate report, financial reporting, 10 marks corporate reporting, and you want to make sure you squash it. Okay, so let me give you an example. So let's say that let's say we have Ernest on the call. Augustine too is also on the call. Augustine, I see you. So let's say we have Ernest and Augustine. So let's say Ernest and Augustine are all accountants in a company. Okay, they are auditors. So Ernest on one side, and then Augustine. So they are auditors. Then they come to audit my company. So let's say the name of my company is whatever. Let's say Tracy Limited. That's the name of my company. So this is my company, and they come to audit my company. Then when they came, listen carefully. I want you to listen carefully. So when they came, we took them to a hotel. I wanted to get a picture very well. We took them to a hotel. We took them to a good hotel, a 5-star hotel. Okay, 5-star hotel. Then also when they came, I mean, I invited them to my house, and then gave them some gifts, very luxurious. Maybe some, let's say, I put on caveman watches. So maybe I got some caveman watches and gave it to them. And these caveman watches are maybe above 1,000 cedis, something like that. So we put them into a 5-star hotel. I gave them watch. They are our auditors. We give it to them. Now, what is going on here? What threats? What is the ethical issue that Ernest and Augustine is facing? The ethical issue they are facing here is that the kind of hospitality we give them now, when other people come to our company, we take them to a 2-star hotel. But these auditors, we are taking them to a 5-star hotel. So the hotel and the kind of treatment, and I'm giving them a watch that could be significant to them or whatever it is that they are. So you realize that when it comes to the threats, we're going to be having some intimidation threats. Now they are going to be compelled. Now, intimidation threats meaning that the professional accountant is going to act in a manner against his own will or in a manner that normally he or she wouldn't have acted. That is intimidation threat due to the circumstance. So now they are going to be walking on, like say, eggshell. Now, maybe Ernest, maybe this is the first time. Now, this is just an example, okay? Ernest and Augustine. Maybe this is the first time Ernest and Augustine lodge in a 5-star hotel. Then they are taking pictures, putting on Instagram, flexing out. They have their new watches, and that is a nice watch from Caveman Watches, and they are really chilling. You realize that now, if care is not taken, they are likely not to act in a manner that they are supposed to act. Now, when they see something in the books, they will be contemplating whether they should ask me about it or they shouldn't ask me. And even if they ask me, I ask them, oh, boys, don't worry about this. You know, it's one of those things we do here. They may not do their work well. So that is intimidation threats. Are you getting the idea? Now, because of the fact that I have given them these gifts and I relate with them very well, it could bring in some familiarity threats. It could bring in some familiarity threats. Now, so when these threats are brought, what is happening here? It means it is going to affect their objectivity. When they are making judgments about our books, making judgments about our management, making judgments about our accounts and everything, it is going to affect their objectivity. Because of that, their integrity is going to be impaired. Because of that, professional competence and due care, they won't do their work in a manner that is supposed to be done. Now, they will be competent, but they will not be due care. Are you getting the picture? Now, is this risk significant? Yes, it is significant. So that is the scenario about ethics that you need to understand. So in the scenario the examiner is going to give you, you want to identify what are the threats, okay? What is the significance of the threats? And then what are the code of ethics the person is breaching as a result of the threats in the question? That is the idea here. So you must understand this. Now, like I said, we're going to go into these more later on because these are critical areas in the syllabus and you need to understand how to answer these questions. So we need to go into it much detail for you to understand some of these things. But that is the second thing, the professional ethics. Now, as you are looking at the threats, the significance of the threat and the code that Ernest and Augustine is breaching, what can they do? Actions that the professional accountant can take. Now, always, if the examiner asks you about the actions that a professional accountant must take, there are 4 actions that a professional accountant always take. And I'm going to explain these to you much later on when we are dealing with this topic in much detail. But the first one is education. This is where the professional accountant will remind whoever is telling him to do whatever he's supposed to do, the importance of doing the right thing. Are you getting it? The importance of doing the right thing at the end of the day. So education is very critical. Then maybe we obtain advice from the audit committee or a responsible authority within the company. A responsible authority within the company. Third one, we can obtain advice from the ICAG or the ACCA. If you are doing ACCA, or you are an ACCA person, or instead of Chartered Accountant, England and Wales, a professional body. Seek advice on how some of these things are supposed to be handled. In that case, it's very critical. We look at it. Then the fourth one is resignation. That's the last one. Now, resignation will come in if none of the actions you took became fruitful, or were fruitful, or are fruitful. Then you got to resign. So when it comes to ethics, that's the second part you need to understand. Remember, we said the first part is understanding the code of ethics, right? Understanding the code of ethics. The second part is the threat of the ethics, and that is what you need to understand. The third one that you need to look out for, finally. Now, if there are any questions, please put it in the chat for me. I want to answer your questions. The last part is management of ethics. Now, when it comes to management of ethics, there are two broad ways that ethics can be managed by an organization. And this is according to Line Payne of Harvard Business School. There are two ways that ethics can be managed. We have what we call the principle base and the rule base. Rule base and then the principle base of how ethics is supposed to be managed. And this is according to Line Payne of the Harvard Business School in that case. And you must understand these as well. So this is the second part. 5 or 6 marks financial reporting students, 5 to 10 marks corporate reporting students. Done deal coming in the exam hall. Again, you may not need a lecturer to teach you this one. If you understand what I just explained to you and you read it well, look at questions, you may not need anybody to teach you this one. Now, like I said, we've covered this on our on the YouTube channel, and you can check the playlist and then watch the full video. I think I did a 2-part video on ethics where I went into detail on some of these things, and you can check it out if you want to check it out. For those of you who are enrolled on our study portal, I mean, you will get access to all of these on our study portal once you have enrolled in that particular case. So that is the second part. Done deal, professional ethics. This is in corporate reporting. This is in financial reporting. See some comments coming in. Let me see if I can answer them real quick. Let's see. I'm wanting to, God continue to bless you, say amen. God bless you too, Martin. Chikudu said, lol, okay. All right, so if there are any questions, please put it in the chat for me. Augustine said I should explain education. Okay. Now, education that I said here, not like you go to school. Education, like it's like reminding the person or informing the person the importance of doing the right thing. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you are the accountant, okay, and the company leases an asset. Okay, now since they've leased an asset, the asset is supposed to be accounted for in accordance with IFRS 16 leases. But then your CFO comes to you, your chief finance officer comes to you and say, I don't want you to recognize this as lease liability, okay? Instead, just recognize it as an asset that we have purchased with the amount outstanding to be paid as a current liability in that particular case. So instead of recognizing a lease liability non-current, they are just recognizing only current liability as an amount that is outstanding. Another example could be, for instance, a customer of the company paid some money in advance to the company. Now, they've paid the money in advance, but they have not placed any order yet. Now, in accordance with IFRS 9, sorry, IFRS 15, if a customer makes any payment in advance, but they have not satisfied any performance obligation, then that advance payment cannot be recognized as revenue, but it must be recognized as a deferred income. So now, because the entity is not doing so well, the CFO comes to you as an accountant and say, hey, that customer advance payment, recognize it as part of revenue. So education simply means you remind the chief account officer and say, sir, I'm sorry, but the customer repayments, that recognition is against IFRS 15. We cannot recognize it as revenue. It should be recognized as a deferred income. And in accordance with IAS 1, presentation of financial statement and the conceptual framework, to enhance faithful representation of financial statements, this cannot be recognized as what? A revenue, because a performance obligation has not been satisfied. That is what we mean by education. Explaining and informing your senior, your superior, the person who is asking you to do the wrong thing, why we cannot do the wrong thing, and you insist that the right thing must be done at the end of the day. Augustine and Martin, let me know if that makes sense for you in that case. But at the end of the day, in a nutshell, all we are saying here is that when it comes to the action that a professional accountant must take, you must make sure that the professional accountant must insist the right thing is done, period. That's all. Now, I say this in class, and people are like, yo, Nhyira, if you resign, what will you go and eat? You're going to eat some amala and whatever, some buy an amala or some egusi soup and some pounded yam in the house. Now, for you there, we know in practice you can screw up, but for the purpose of the exams, the accountant must insist that the right thing will be done. That is why if the right thing cannot be done, you resign. And like I say all the time, even in practice, you must make sure you insist the right thing is done. Put your head on the line. Yeah, I know. Somebody will say, yo, Nhyira, what do I do if I lose my job? There are no jobs. No, if you are arrested, you're going to be in trouble. Now, like I say all the time, in this part of the world, like in Africa, this part of Ghana, but we are not well developed about these professional ethics stuff and that. So really, we don't see the impact of it on businesses. Recently, it was when the banks collapsed and the various audit firms that were involved in the collapse of the bank, we saw the ICAG fining them and all those things in that case. If that thing had happened in some developed economies, probably some people would have been jailed by now and their licenses would have been seized and all that. But I mean, we are yet developing, so there are no stringent measures put in place for some of these things. And this is now the time that I think the Bank of Ghana and other regulatory authorities are developing some frameworks and to make sure that these things don't happen again going into the future. But as an accountant, as an auditor, as a professional, no matter what it is, if it means losing your job, do the right thing and lose your job. That is what we're saying. Okay, so Augustine, let me know if that makes sense for you on the education that you said I should explain again. So that's the second thing, professional ethics. Professional ethics. That is very critical. That is very basic. Then we come to the third category. Number 3, done deal for corporate reporting, done deal for financial reporting, and that is interpretation of financial statements. Interpretation of financial statements. Now, I want you to really look at what we are doing here. So FR students, corporate conceptual framework, we have 5 marks covered there. Ethics, let's say we have 5 marks covered there, making 10 marks. Okay, done deal, waiting for us in the exam hall. Then interpretation of financial statement, depending on how excited the examiner is, that could be between 15 to 20 marks. And this is both financial reporting and corporate reporting. Done deal, waiting for us in the exam hall. Does that make sense? Waiting for us in the exam hall. So interpretation of financial statements. For financial reporting students, the examiner is going to be very easy on you when it comes to interpretation of financial statements, but you need to understand how to compute the various ratios and also interpret the ratios. That's very critical. My concern always is about the interpretation of the ratios. But then I've had an encounter with our students, and you realize that people are not able to even do the calculation, man. Some people screw up a lot on the calculation. So the calculation is going to play a key role. But on top of that, you should be able to interpret. You should be able to write grammar. Okay? You should be able to write grammar. This is English. I remember last semester, I laughed at my students, FR and CR students. Come on, the English people were writing to me. My goodness, I couldn't even laugh. I couldn't even laugh enough. And that is one thing that we do here. I mean, like we bring people's scripts on the screen. Everybody is seeing it on the Zoom call, and we are reading and we laugh together like that. Then we correct all the errors that you need to look out for. And grammar is very critical here. Got to be careful about grammar here. Got to be pretty careful about grammar here. Got to be careful, because it's one thing to perfect your calculation and think that you're doing a good job, and it's another thing to write the English down. And so people struggled with it, but then we try to fine tune them a little for them to go into the exam. But if you want to pass the financial reporting exam, if you want to pass the corporate reporting exam, you must make sure that the interpretation of the ratios, you are getting it. I mean, like you are getting it. That is very, very critical. I said, I can't even, like my students, I laugh at them. Because if I look at the English people are writing, I'm like, geez, if you take this English to the exam, you are screwed. And I will laugh at them all, and we will laugh together. And that is how it is. So you want to make sure that, and that is why I say all the time, where you attend lectures is very critical, because if you attend lectures somewhere where ratios, the lecturer comes, you calculate it, and then they explain the ratios to you, then you go away like that. No, you've not learned anything really, because you need to be able to solve the question on your own, write the interpretation on your own, have somebody read your interpretation, guide you on, don't use this word, use this word, do it this way, don't do this way. But it's very critical. It's very, very critical. Now, for those of you who are doing corporate reporting, on top of knowing the calculation for the profitability ratios, liquidity and gearing, working capital ratios, gearing ratios, and the investors ratio, the examiner could also ask you to analyze the performance of the organization using the financial statements. Now, remember, when you're doing the traditional ratios, we have the profit or loss, statement of profit or loss, and statement of financial position. But for corporate reporting student, the examiner can ask you to do ratio analysis on the cash flow statement of the company. Assess the performance of the company using the cash flow statement. And that was what came last semester. So you need to be careful about this. It's a done deal area, but my guide to you. Now, we've also covered this on the channel. You can check the video out on the channel. We did a 2-part or so, or 3-part video just last semester on ratio analysis, where I break down the calculation, how do you do the interpretation, giving you the guiding principle and all that. You can watch it on the channel. This is a done deal area. You want to make sure you get it done. So that is the third area that you want to look out for. So far, if we are looking at it well, FR, Conceptual Framework, giving us 5 marks. Ethics, giving us 6 marks, give and take. Ratios, let's say worst case scenario, 15 marks. And so far, maybe we are covering 26 marks. Corporate reporting students, Conceptual Framework, regulatory, 5 marks. Ethics, maybe let's say 10 marks. Ratios, done deal, maybe let's say 20 marks. So far, we've done 35 marks. Are you following the concept? That is the idea so far. Are these things difficult? No, sir. You can do it easily. You can actually do it easily. So this is it so far. Now, hit me with some questions if you have any. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat, put it in the comment section. I see some of you guys joining. Welcome to the live stream in that particular case. And give me a thumbs up on the video if you're getting some value here. Share the video on social media, on WhatsApp, on your various chats. Let's get as many students get watching these lectures in that particular case. Okay, so Augustine said, yes. Yes, sir, thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Stephen Aguma said, hi, Nhyira, I want to start ICA with Management Information System and Financial Accounting. Is it advisable? Oh, okay, that means you're in level 1, Stephen. No, I would rather advise you take Financial Accounting and Business Law. Okay, Financial Accounting and Business Law. That would be a better combination as a starter for you. So Financial Accounting and Business Law, Stephen, that will be better, so that you do the business information with Introduction to Management Accounting because of the relationship that exists between the subjects. So Stephen, that is what I would recommend there. Pinny Perry said, boss, those are our special delicacies. Amala, egusi, etc. Yeah. In Nigeria, I know that. I'm gonna try that meal, some pounded yam and some egusi soup, or some with some amala over this period somewhere. So I'm trying to see how it will go because I've read a lot about it. So I'm gonna see how it will go because I mean, it will be really good to do it. Okay, so that is it so far. So when you finish with conceptual framework, you finish with ethics, you finish with ratios. Now, I'm teaching you how you have to study. This is how you structure your study plan. In case you don't know how to prepare a study plan, you can check the description of this video. You can get that, or watch the video last week we did on Monday. You can check that and prepare a study plan. So you do conceptual framework, you come to ethics, then you do ratios. That's number 3. Then you come to number 4. In the number 4, what you want to do is that you want to do the non-current. Now remember, this is still corporate reporting and financial reporting, okay? Corporate reporting and financial reporting. What you want to do is you do the non-current assets standards, the IFRSs and the non-current assets. Now, stay with me carefully because I'm going to explain this to you. Hanon Badiwi said, I missed what you said for FRSM. Can you repeat it? I attempt last session, got 46. What did I've said a lot about FR. Everything I've said here is about FR and CR. So which specifically do you want me to repeat? Hanon, which one specifically do you want me to repeat? Please let me know. Which one specifically you want me to repeat? Now, please note that enrollment and registration is currently ongoing on our online study portal. You can enroll to study directly under my mentorship by visiting NhyiraPremium.com. The link is in the description. If you want to study under my mentorship, enrollment is ongoing. When you register, we are starting our live lectures on 3rd January. Okay, on 3rd January 2022. That's where our live Zoom sessions are starting. But when you register right now, it is 390 Ghana cedis per paper. You can start learning. You get access to the last semester lecture videos and start learning even before our live stream sessions. That way you are ahead of the curve. You are able to get more access, get more understanding. These things that I'm saying, you're able to even learn them before the live Zoom sessions. And when that happens, you increase your chances of passing the examination. So you can visit our website and enroll in the course. If there are any inquiries you have, you can reach us out, +233 if you're outside Ghana, 050-114-9296, 050-114-9296. Okay, so Hanon said ratios. Okay, you want me to mention something about ratios? What I said on the ratios is you must know the calculations, okay? Understand the interpretation, know how to do the interpretation on the ratios. Very, very critical at the end of the day because we have about 15 marks worst case scenario coming in from that angle that you must know about as a student, okay? So that's what I mentioned about the ratio. You said you did FR last session and you got 46. Okay, that was close, but it means you didn't do much. So I have a problem with writing in English. That is why I didn't attempt ratio question. You have a problem writing in English. Why? Reach us out. Well, what's the problem? We can assist you much better, because the fun way I teach ratios is, I mean, once I explain the concept, you have questions, and you write your own essay. You write your own interpretation. I'll laugh at you and I'll correct it for you. Like, that is how we do it. And for my students who are on the call here, I mean, they can attest to it. We will laugh together like that, and we'll correct it. So if you have problem doing the interpretation, it means you need more practice. And if you got 46, chances are, okay, you say you didn't attempt the ratio at all. So you could have passed if you had attempted the ratios. So, I mean, you can reach us out and maybe join our sessions for that case. Please, we don't do intervention classes. So if you are waiting that close to the exam, there will be intervention. We don't do intervention class. Our executive revision master class is exclusively for our students. So if you enroll, join us, you go through the process, executive revision masterclass, you'll be part of it as well at the end of the day. So Hanon, if you are interested in learning under my mentorship, you can reach us out 0501149296 and enroll in FR with us, and then join the session. Let's see how we can assist you and fine tune what is it that you have in that case. Now, for those of you who are not cut out for the regular class and those things, and you want a private tuition, that is also available as well. So we have a private tuition available, and that one you would have to call and then make request for that to see if my time is available before you can arrange for that. And that is 2,500 Ghana cedis per paper for our private tuitions, 2,500 Ghana cedis per paper for our private class. So if you're not cut out for the regular class, or your schedules will not allow you and you still want a private class, then you can go for that and we can assist you on that as well. And now, this is not to Hanan, but it's just a general statement I'm making. Augustine said, advice on 2 papers to write in level 3. Definitely financial report, corporate reporting and audit and assurance, okay? Definitely. Corporate reporting and audit assurance. That is what we recommend you to start with always, because I mean, that's better. That position you much better to pass the exam because of the relationship that exists between them. Ethics is in both areas. That is helpful for you at the end of the day. And then the accounting standards is also needed in audit and assurance. So you are able to cross up there. And when with audit and assurance being purely reading and corporate reporting being calculation and a little bit reading, it balances off to be able to help you to pass the exam. So corporate reporting and advanced audit and assurance, it's something that you can go in for in that case. So the 4th area I want you to focus on is to look at the non-current assets IFRSs. Now, when I say non-current asset accounting standards, these are what we mean. We mean our main guy, IAS 16, property, plant, and equipment. IAS 20, government grants. IAS 23, borrowing costs. IAS 40, investment property. And then IAS 12, income tax. IAS 37, provisions, contingent liabilities, contingent assets. You want to, that is the 4th category. You don't want to do all the standards, but you want to take these 6 standards or 7, IFRS 5 for the last one. At least understand these IFRSs first. Now, I don't want you to get excited about the other standards, but understand these standards. Why is that important? Because this standard is going to set the tone for you as you move ahead much later on at the end of the day in that case, as you move on later on at the end of the day. So you want to do these basic standards, financial reporting, corporate reporting, introduce yourself to them, understand them, know the principles. Now, the good news is that all these standards, we have videos on them on the portal. You can check the accounting standard series playlist on the channel, and you'll be able to get access to lecture videos on all these standards. For those of you who are enrolled in our online courses, I mean, you have the full content on all these all the standards, we covered it on the portal, and you can get access to it at the end of the day. So you want to understand these standards. That is the fourth thing you want to look out for. The fourth thing you want to look out for. So once you go into these standards, Ernest Obimpe said, "Hi, Nhyira. It has been a long time." Yeah, Ernest, where have you been? I've tried to reach you WhatsApp via call. Even I think Josephine even tried to was asking of you and tried to reach you, but we couldn't. Let me know. You can send us hi on WhatsApp. Let's see. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well, Ernest Obimpe. So that is the fourth thing. Non-current assets, IFRSs. You want to make sure you cover them. You know about them in that case, because these are critical. These are very basic in that regard. Now, once you know these basic standards, what I want you to now do is, for financial reporting students, once you understand these basic standards, what I want you to do now is to look at consolidated financial statements. And what you want to look out for, it's again, look at the basic principles. Now in level 2, corporate reporting, financial reporting, consolidated financial statement. Someone said IAS 37 is not there. IAS 37, this is it. IAS 37. I'm putting it here. Yeah, I know maybe you're saying that it is not something that is part of non-current assets, but it is part of. You said, I mean, on YouTube. Are you sure that we don't have video on IAS 37 on YouTube? I would have to check. We have over 600 videos now. I don't even know. So I would have to let a team check for us to confirm, but whatever be the case, if it is not available on YouTube, definitely to be on our study portal, so you can get access to it there. So the fifth thing you want to know is to understand the basic things about consolidation. Good news is everything you need to know about consolidation is already on the channel. Check it out. I've done all the videos you need to know about consolidated financial statements, and you're going to look at that. You look at the introduction. Then the last part is to now deal with the other standards and single entity. Other standards and single entity. Now this is for FR people. Other standards and single entity. Now, because the standards are numerous, you want to make sure that you really focus on a number of standards to increase your chances of passing the examination. Apart from the ones that I've listed above here, there are a couple of standards that you have to be familiar with, and that is IFRS. Now, this is financial reporting students. IFRS 9. You must make sure you are familiar with the standard at the end of the day, because it's very basic there. Then IFRS 15, you must make sure you understand it. IAS 36 and 38, these are all basic standards. You must make sure you understand them very well as you go into the exam hall there. In that case, as you go into the exam hall, in that case. So that is the issue you need to understand there. Then when it comes to corporate reporting, after you deal with the non-current standards for corporate reporting students, again, you will look at the issue in relation to business valuation. For corporate reporting students, this is what I want you to do based on the strategy that we are designing. After you deal with the ratios, corporate reporting students, after you deal with the ratios, you want to come to business valuation, and then financial reconstruction and corporate reorganization. One of these will be in the exam hall. So before you come to the standards in corporate reporting, before you come to the standards, you deal with it. And this is 15 marks in the exam hall. Okay, 15 marks. If the examiner is excited, it could make it 20 for you, but it's 15 marks basically. So business, one of these will be in the exam hall. Done deal. Done deal. It's a done deal. So that is it. You have to do it. Now, the various methods of business valuation, you must know about them. The asset valuation method, the price earnings ratio, the dividend yield ratio, the dividend valuation method, how do we call it? And the other methods, financial reconstruction and corporate reorganization, very critical, very basic. You must make sure you familiarize yourself with them very well in that case. So if you look at it so far, again, corporate reporting students, so far, you realize that there is conceptual framework coming up, 5 marks. You realize that there is ethics coming up, whatever, let's say 5 to 10 marks coming up. We said there is ratios coming up. That's 15. If the examiner is excited, it could make it 20 marks coming up. Then business valuation, 15 marks coming up. So you realize that so far, you've not got to standards, you've not got to consolidation as a corporate reporting student, but you have 15, let's say 15, 30. So you have about 45% so far. 45 done deal areas. So once you are done with business valuation and financial reconstruction, then this is where I would want you to look at the non-current asset standards, like I listed a moment ago. You want to look at the non-current standards, like I listed here a moment ago. You look at them. So meaning we are pushing the accounting standards and consolidation to the final part of the discussion. You are pushing accounting standards and consolidation to the final part of the discussion. So you know, you familiarize yourself with these particular standards as a corporate reporting student at the end of the day. Then once you familiarize yourself with these standards, a number of key standards here that as a corporate reporting student you need to also understand will include the following standards. IFRS 2, share-based payments. IAS 19, employee benefit. IFRS 9, financial instruments. Please note, corporate reporting students, one of these will always be in the exam hall. For financial instruments, it's like the examiner's favorites. Almost every semester, there is something about financial instruments. So these 3 standards, as a corporate reporting student, you don't want to take them for granted. As a financial reporting student, financial instruments, you don't want to joke with it because it is going to be in a question, either a single entity question or a dedicated question on its own. Does that make sense? So corporate reporting students, IFRS 2 share-based payments, IAS 19 employee benefits, IFRS 9 financial instruments. You must understand these standards very well in that case. IFRS 9 financial instruments, you must understand these standards as you go into the exam hall, because whether you like it or not, there is something going to be there. Then certainly 38, just like what I listed a moment ago in the FR segment, the same thing here, just like I listed a moment ago in the FR segment. I mean, the standards are numerous, you know. The fun part is that you may not be able to cover all of them, but you must cover majority of them to increase your chances of actually passing the examination if you want to go in there for the exams. Okay, Stephen is asking a question. Why focus on only level 3 papers? I don't understand your question. Stephen Aguma, I don't understand you. Why focused on only level 3 papers? Can you give me some clarity on your question? Because our discussion today is on financial reporting and corporate reporting. So maybe give me some perspective in the question you are asking. Then I can provide you with a whatever. Then I can answer you better because I don't understand your question. So that is about corporate reporting. Then certainly the last thing we will do is bring in your consolidation. Consolidated financial statement. Now, consolidated financial statement, it's broad at this level. Consolidated financial statement in corporate reporting, it's broad, very, very broad. So you want to make sure, if you're not careful, it's just a 20-mark area, but the workload there is very much for the studies, not for the exams. There are a lot of things here for corporate reporting students under consolidation. Number one, we will have a complex group. That is one aspect of it. Number two, we could have what is called piecemeal acquisition, or if you want, stage acquisition. Then we could have disposals of interest. Is an area you must look at as a corporate reporting student doing consolidated financial statement. Now, complex group structure means you have a parent that has a subsidiary that has another subsidiary. Then we also have a foreign subsidiary, treatment of foreign subsidiary. That's a whole ball game altogether. Treatment of foreign subsidiary, that's a critical area. Then the last one will be the consolidated cash flow. Consolidated cash flow statements. So if you look at consolidation in the level 3, it's broad. It's a lot. So if you're not careful and you start with this one, you will use all the time on consolidation for your studies and ignore ethics and ignore ratios and ignore conceptual framework and ignore business valuation, financial reconstruction, corporate reorganization. That is why I always recommend that consolidation will be the last thing you do in your study structure. Should be the last thing, because yes, it's just 20 marks. But the workload there, it's a lot. It's pretty much. Now, we are working on releasing a new book on corporate reporting and financial reporting. And I cannot tell you how much content we are putting into just consolidation in corporate reporting, because we have to deal with all of these things. The complex group, the piecemeal or stage acquisition, the disposal of interest, foreign subsidiary, consolidated cash flows. These things alone, it's a lot. These things alone is a lot. So when you are doing consolidated financial statement in level 3, these are the things that you need to understand. And you must spend time to understand each of them, the principles surrounding them, and how to do the treatment. Finat S, hi. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. Stephen Aguma, if you are still on the call, please clarify your question for us so that I can, if you're still on the stream, sorry, so that I can provide you with some specific answers as per the question you are asking there. So when we talk about financial reporting and corporate reporting, this is the structure of the syllabus, and this is how we want you to study. This is the structure of the syllabus, and this is how we want you to study. Now, is it easy to pass the exams? It depends on where you are standing, but it requires hard work. It requires hard work. Because if you spend time very well, do your ethics strong, do your ratios checked. Okay, conceptual framework, check. For your information, there will be theory question on consolidation. 5 marks, checked. Theory on consolidation. Theory on consolidation. That is both financial reporting and corporate reporting. There will be question in the theory question on consolidation. You must know about it. You must know about it in that particular case. So ethics, critical. Ratios, critical. Conceptual framework, theory on consolidation, very critical. Then can go in for some of the standards, the IFRSs, then consolidation comes in last in that particular case. I see some questions coming in. Stephen said, oh, okay, understand you now, but I will need a discussion on level 1 papers too. Oh, okay. Okay, we're going to take some time to look at level 1 papers as well. So stay tuned, Stephen, on that one. As we move ahead in the discussion, we're going to bring in some of the contents there and also have a discussion on that. Rosario M. Rosario. What time does it take to revise consolidation? You know, I always say it depends on everybody. Okay, I wouldn't, you are talking about revision. Okay, so revise consolidation. Everybody has a way of studying. So I wouldn't state any specific time at the end of the day that you can use to revise consolidation, because we are all different. So if you ask this question to anybody and the person says 1 week, 2 weeks, no, we can't use generic approach for everybody is different. All right, because I could do that in 6 hours. Okay, someone could do that in 3 hours and the person is cool. Someone could do that in 10 hours. Someone could do that in 30 hours. So on what time does it take? I would say it's based on your understanding of the subject. Okay, your understanding of the subject. So what I would suggest, for instance, is if you attend lectures, you make sure that you attend lecture on that. So you attend lectures, then make sure that you rewatch the video. So you watch the playback. Okay. Then you make sure that you practice questions. Okay. So as you are doing all these, especially when practicing questions, you are literally revising the paper. So, and that could take, like I said, a lot of time. A lot of time. It takes time. It depends on everybody. I cannot give you a fixed time, but I feel that it depends on everybody's level of understanding at the end of the day. So Rosario, that is what I would say there. I can't give you a definite time, but it depends on your level of understanding. And one thing you must know is that the more you solve questions, the more you feel you are unprepared for the exams, because, and that is the interesting aspect for every field. Where I am now, we are getting ready to publish my 17th book, and I've been teaching this for the last 80 years. But the more I learn corporate reporting, strategic business reporting, the more I learn about financial reporting, expose myself to a lot of questions, the more I get deeper understanding even in what I'm doing. So there is no definite time, but you need to just look at yourself and ask yourself, am I good? Understand the principles. On the bedrock is understand all the basic principles about consolidation. If you are good on the basic principles, irrespective of the question, you can solve it. You can solve it. Okay, so Rosario said, okay, got it. Thank you. Always a pleasure, Rosario. Always a pleasure. Any other questions, please? Any other questions, please? Any other questions? Hit me up, hit me up. Any other questions? Let me know. Okay, so that is it about that. And this is what we wanted to let you know about corporate reporting and financial reporting. Now, if you look at the blueprints that I just shared with you, and if you follow this blueprint, the way I have said it, I can guarantee you that financial reporting, corporate reporting will be easy for you at the end of the day. But like I mentioned, grammar is critical here, especially when it comes to ratios. Like I said, I mean, my students, I make them write, and we share everybody's script on the call, and we laugh together, then I correct, because that is how you do ratios. Okay, you don't do ratios by me sitting there and explaining the ratios, then you copy and you go away, you think you're a shark. No, you are not a shark. Yeah. Okay, so I would say practice a lot of questions. Once you learn the principles on the ratios in that case, and then make sure that you really write. Okay, write out. Don't read solutions. Okay, don't read solutions, because in the exam hall you are faced with a different scenario. But if you have practice questions, you're gonna be cool. You're gonna be cool. So what I would suggest is that ratios, especially, learn how to calculate the ratios. Okay, really learn how to calculate the ratios, various types of ratio questions. Then write the interpretation. There are guidelines on how the interpretation are supposed to go. Then you got to make sure that you be careful about certain choices of words, because one of the things we see students do is that the ratio has increased from last year to this year. This indicates that the organization has performed better. Please, that's a KG2 English. Okay, the organization has performed better. Then you go to the second paragraph. The organization has performed better. You go to the second paragraph. The organization has performed better. Meaning better. You don't have any other English apart from better. So it becomes cliche. And in grammar, if you use a word more than once like that, it becomes a cliche at the end of the day. So that is the deal. That is the deal. Hannon said, in FR, I start which question? I don't understand your question, Hannon. Please, can you retype that? Are you asking that which question do you start with in the exam hall? If you're asking which question you start with in the exam hall, I'll be sharing some thought with that on you later on though. But in the exam hall, now I don't want you to look at the exams yet, but in the exam hall, what you want to do is to take out all the written aspect, like the question 5, like the ethics question, you want to answer it. The theory question on consolidation, you want to answer it. The question on conceptual framework, you want to answer it. Then there will be theory standard question, even in question 5, you want to answer that. Okay, so you want to take all these up. Then you come to the ratios. You want to answer the ratios as your next question in that scope. Then you come to the standards and single entity. Then consolidation could be the last one at the end of the day. So the theories first, ratios second, the standards and single entity third, then consolidation the last one at the end, last but one. Normally, I don't advise people to start with consolidation, because chances are you could do the thing, not that you can answer the question, you could answer, but the time you will use to answer the consolidation question will be more than the time required for it. So you will end up not attempting the theory question that you could write easily to save some time from there and move ahead. So that is what I would suggest. The theory or the written comment questions first, come to ratio second, single entity and standards, then standards, consolidation could be the next one there. Adams Abubakar said, why are writing in April? Said, I don't understand your question, Adams. Oh, okay, it's Adam. Sorry, not Adams. The Institute of Chartered Accountants has redesigned its examination structure. And so now there are going to be 3 examination dates in every year: April, August, and December. And that will be first week in April, first week in August, and first week in December. So now it is 3 examination dates. Usually it's going to be 3 examination dates. So the reason why now there is exams going to be in April is because of the new structure of examination by the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. All right, did that make sense? Hanan said, I started with consolidation. It took me 70 minutes. Whoa, that's too much. Because each question you're supposed to use 36 minutes, meaning you used 40-mark question to the time for 40 marks, okay, to answer a 20-mark question. Now, God help us, and God help you that you get everything. Do you get the idea? So that's not good. That's not good. That is why I don't want people to attempt consolidation first, because chances are it's one of the questions that I don't know who propagated that lie though, but it's like everybody, when it comes to consolidation, when it comes to FR and corporate reporting, everybody is like conso. I don't know who propagated that lie though, but every student I've met who has especially sat for the exam before, it's like conso. So if we start class and we've not done consolidation yet, Nhyira, when are we doing conso? So I don't want you to start with it in the exam hall. So like what Hanan is saying, 70 minutes. Come on, that's too much. That's 2 questions time you use for 1 question. And so when that happens, you start panicking. And if you're not careful, you're going to fail the exams. Okay, so you want to rather answer the easy ones, the written aspects, the ethics, the conceptual framework, the theory on the ratios, the theories on the standards. Then you come to the ratios, take that out. Then you go to the standards, and then you will be good today. Okay, so Hanon Badawi, that is what I would say there. Since you've learned that lesson, I mean, 70 minutes is too much. So restructure, and then so you can pass the examination. Adam Abdu, what's that? Abdukadi. Forgive me if I don't. I'll just stay with Adam. Okay. Adam said thanks. You are welcome, Adams. All right. I'm saying Adams. Your name is Adam. Forgive me. Okay. I'm just messing up with your name today. So Adam. Okay, so that is it about that. And that's what you need to understand when we talk about financial reporting and corporate reporting. Like I said, start learning now. Start studying. For those of you who say, oh, we are on break. Christmas is coming. We have to relax a little bit. What cry? ICA cry? What? Let's relax a little bit. Oh, we can do play. Please. You have not reached that level yet. Even the Elon Musks are still hustling. They are working hard. The Jeff Bezos are still working. Okay? The Mark Zuckerbergs are still working. So don't give me that line that, oh, Nhyira, I'm relaxed. Please start learning. Now, for those of you who are also saying, Nhyira, I don't know what subject to write. I'm waiting for my results. Please. You know the paper you wrote. If you are not chattering, then you know the remaining papers that are left. Start learning some of them, subject to the fact that you will pass. If the results come and you didn't pass any paper, there is no problem. You just go back, attend lectures, and revise those papers, and go and resit. But I don't want you to sit down and not be learning. You have to be learning, okay? Because this thing is about sacrifice. It's about dedication. It's about hard work. Okay, so continue pressuring till you become a chartered accountant, and you will love the journey. If you start learning now, I can guarantee you by 3rd January that we will start with our live sessions, you are way ahead of the game. Like you really understand a lot of things. So now if live sessions have started, you are attending lectures or whatever it is, I mean, you are not under pressure because you know a lot. So that you don't wait 2 weeks to the exam, then you start learning, attending all manner of intervention classes and go and fail the exams. Then you say, oh, ICAD is difficult. No, ICAN is difficult. ACCA is difficult. It's not difficult. You are lazy. That's why it's becoming difficult for you. So that is what I would suggest. Start learning today. Like I said, if you don't want to commit financially anywhere, check out our YouTube channel. We have lecture videos on a lot of things. Watch them, get them. Watch them, get them. That's how you pass the exams. Consistency, hard work, dedication, and studying. Okay? That's how you pass the exams. Penny Perry said, God bless you and yours. Amen. God bless you too. Abdul Mazouk said, God bless you, sir. God bless you too. Abdul, thank you very much for joining us. So that is it about that. I wanted to just make sure you work hard. Just make sure you study. If you follow up my work, I keep on saying this. It's the mind game, all right? Work hard, dedicate. Don't sit down, don't slack. Don't listen to what your friends are saying. Oh, nah, ICA, so you won't even spend time with us. Please, please. Okay, our work and no play major a door boy. If you are saying that, then look at your bank account. Okay, if you are making such statements, ask yourself, if prices of things go up, do you panic? Because if prices of things go up and you panic, it means you are broke. If the fuel price goes up 20 pesos, 30 pesos, then you start, hey, they are going to kill us, so you broke. That is why you can't do all work and no play major a dull boy. Because you have to increase your game, increase your skills, become more successful, make more money, so you can become valuable in the environment. That's it. So if you are broke, you don't say all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. That's how you become successful. Ernest Pratt said, hello, Nhyira. If I want to do 3 papers, which one do you advise I add to PSAF and FR? Ernest, why would you want to do 3 papers? Do you have the time available? Because it requires a lot of time though. But if you want to add, how many papers what other papers do you have left in level 2, Ernest? Maybe provide me with that. And let me see if I can advise. What other papers do you have in level 2? Apart from the PSA and FR, then I could advise on what you have to add. Because if you have not written tax, you could add principles of taxation to it. If you have not written tax, you could add principles of taxation. So Ernest Pratt, you could add principles of taxation if you have not written tax yet. But let me know the other papers you have in level 2, then I could share my thought. But perfect addition to this will be principles of taxation. But like I said, check the time. Okay, audit and FM instead. Oh, okay. Ernest, why don't you do 2-2? Why don't you? Because PSA, FR, it requires time. Or okay, maybe you're a full-time student, right? If you're a full-time student, fine. Maybe you can add audit. You can add audit. Audit is purely reading aspect, so you can add audit and assurance to it. You can add audit and assurance because FM is a whole ball game altogether. So you can add audit and assurance. If you still want to go for 3, you can add audit and assurance. You can add audit and assurance. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Right, so that's it about that. Are there other questions, please? Any other questions you want me to share my thought on? Any other questions you want me to share my thought on? Ernest, let me know if that makes sense for you. You could add audits if you want to add 1 paper to that. You could add audits. Okay, so that is it about that. I'm going to conclude around here today. Thank you very much, you guys, for joining us on the live stream. It's always a pleasure coming your way. And we're going to meet again on Friday at 4:30 p.m. If you're not following me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. The discussion for Friday is going to be posted there. So if it is something relating to you, you can join. So Jeremy Giros, Dennis, Abdullah, Samuel, Ernest, quote unquote, Yaboa, Eric, Augustine, Finot, Ernest, Adam, Stephen, Hannon, Namo, Ernest, and everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. Ernest said, thanks. I will stick with 2. With what? With 2. I'm not full-time student. Okay, yeah. So do 2, okay, Ernest. This thing is not 100 meters. It's not who chatter first. It's a marathon you're going. Okay. It requires capacity building over a period of time. So don't be in a hurry. Do 2 strongly, go in there and pass the exams. And that's how you become successful. Elizabeth Dogbe said, Thank you too. God bless you. Amen. Elizabeth, God bless you and thanks for joining us. I'll catch you again on Friday, God willing. Follow me on Instagram. You get the details about what we're going to be discussing on Friday. And I'll catch you on Friday as we continue with our discussion towards April 2022 examination. If there are any things that you want to find out, you can visit our website, NhyiraPremium.com, and whatever information you want, you'll be able to get it there on our website, NhyiraPremium.com. Stay safe, and I'll catch you on Friday as we continue with our discussion. Bye-bye.